Every team, every topic, everywhere. This is Believe.
This is John Summerall, head football coach at Troy. You're listening to the Fun Belt Podcast.
If you didn't know before, now you know why they call this the Fun Belt.
I'm very excited about the Sun Belt.
You know, while other conferences have been breaking up, our conference has become stronger.
The state of Sun Belt football is the strongest in our history.
I saw Fun Belt Conference, and I'm like, I don't know what this is. I got to join the show. It sounds a lot of fun.
Did you hit the record?
I did. Now we are.
Welcome back to Fun Belt Podcast, part of the Mighty Believe Network. My name's Jeremy Harper with HowlRazor.com. With me, Shane Mettlen from the Daily News Record, Dusty Thibodeaux from the Warhawk Report. Gentlemen, welcome back. We had a brief but penetrating burst of Sun Belt action on Saturday, and I'm looking forward to discussing it. You know, some things happened that I wasn't too happy with on a personal note, but you know, here's one thing I learned about the Sun Belt. You just can't really predict it. I made on betonline.com, my favorite betting platform, I made like 10 bets. None of them panned out. That's how badly I was able to predict the Sun Belt this week.
Football is back, and BetOnline is your number one information source for all your sports wagering info with all the up-to-the-minute stats, news, scores, and matchup breakdowns. Get the latest game odds, spreads, and totals from the NFL and college football at your fingertips with BetOnline's real-time updates on statistics, news, and odds. From week one all the way to the college football playoff and Super Bowl, BetOnline gives you access to the best football promotions and contests available anywhere online. Head to the website today or use your mobile device to get in on the action. Remember to use our promo code BELIEVE, B-L-E-A-V, to receive your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. BetOnline, where the game starts.
The mighty Roman Empire of Caesars protected me while I was off in Tennessee.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I would have probably lost my ass, especially thinking that ULM had a chance there against the mighty Jags.
You blame Shane and I for that, because Shane and I were like, oh, yeah, the Warhawks, man, they're going to make a game of it. It's hard to play in Monroe. You know, they're jazzed up. They played Appalachian State so tight. Yeah. Good thing you weren't able to make a bet on that, because I did. I lost $5 on the Warhawks.
Yeah, that was that was uglier than expected. Even knowing the up and down nature of the Jags, I wasn't expecting it quite like that.
Yeah, that was a pretty bad game. I mean, you know, we kind of said going into it though, it was really a matter of, are the Jaguars going to finally come around, and are the Warhawks on a pity party? And I think that, quite honestly, they were still emotionally spent and just not prepared and ready to actually play that game. I feel like that they were still kind of hung over from that Appalachian State game, and now you got to hope that they can put two games behind them, really the extremes, a close loss and then an absolute blowout, to then go on the road to Texas State.
Yeah, and you know, it's one of those things where you also have to look at Kane Womack and Carter Bradley and the Jags and wonder, did they finally figure out the magic sauce? Did they finally figure out the right formula for playing some football? Because they were awesome on both ends of the ball against the Warhawks, and that's just something we haven't really seen. You know, we saw it when they played Oklahoma State. We haven't really seen that level of intensity in conference play. We didn't see that level of play when it was time for them to play Tulane. I'm just wondering if maybe the Jags are kind of figuring out just in time to make that conference divisional run.
I mean, at this point, I think the one true common denominator that we can point to is South Alabama plays better when they're not in a town that celebrates Mardi Gras. right? I mean, when they're away from Mobile and New Orleans, they play pretty decent football.
Monroe has a parade, but literally I've been at the parade before where I swear it was doing like 30 miles an hour down Desert Street. So is that really celebrating Mardi Gras? Maybe, maybe not.
I do find it interesting that a couple of their best performances have been road games and, maybe not the most hostile environments, but relatively hostile environments.
Yeah, so Jaya Wright, after playing really good football against Appalachian State, picked off twice. I thought he was about to discover all his superpowers and go, full dark Jaya Wright, but it just didn't happen.
Yeah, it was. I mean, at one point, I looked at the box score. ULM had 6 yards of offense. The Jaguars had a little over 100. And I think it was at that point I quit following the Gamecast and stopped streaming it on my phone and just prayed and watched the bottom line ticker for whatever game we had on at the time.
Yeah, that's brutal times.
The other brutal game.
Okay.
Jeremy, you got your ass whooped on the road too. Going down to T-Roy and took a 37-3 loss there to Troy on Carlton Marshall Day.
I was completely hoping to become totally insufferable on this episode of the show. Just get out my monocle, grow my goatee, wear the ascot, and just be just a complete jackass on this show, talking about possible New Year's Eve 6, definitely a Sun appearance in the Sun Belt Championship. Was looking forward to seeing those Red Wolves take on Troy and their 24th ranked defense and give them a little taste of what it means to be a Red Wolf. And, it didn't work out at all, quite frankly. I think Kamani Vidal had something like 250 yards of rushing and a trio of touchdowns, and he was just unstoppable. Gunnar Watson had a really good day. The defense didn't hold up. The offense didn't score a touchdown. I will say this, guys, though. The Red Wolves this season, undefeated when they score a touchdown. When the Red Wolves score a touchdown, they can't be beat.
So are we going to watch and trend that when you come to Monroe for homecoming?
Oh, yeah, sure. Yeah. When I'm in Monroe, that's definitely happening. Not like something that I'm just sort of pretending is going to happen and then I'll Irish exit at the last second. No, I'll be there. But yeah, listen, give hats off to Troy. Troy's defense is stellar. I think they were bragging online how they've held their last two opponents to 10 points total. Congratulations. That's pretty good. So poised to be head of the West. Good for John Sumrall and Gunnar Watson and Vidal and all those awesome guys on the defense.
Yeah, I was wondering during that game if Kamani Vidal maybe is a Fun Belt podcast listener and he heard how insufferable Jeremy was going to be and was dedicated to making sure that didn't happen. But, the Troy defensive effort, they are the same defensive team they were last year. It looks like, even with a couple losses at this point, the defense hasn't really been the issue. And, I really thought Arkansas State was going to score some points. I didn't know if they were going to win this game, but I thought they were going to, put some points on the board to make it competitive, and they just couldn't do it against that defense.
They had their moments, they would get into the red zone and, they went for it on 4th down twice when it looked like they could score, instead of taking the field goal, they tried to get into the end zone. Didn't work out. And what it says is that Arkansas State just really isn't ready to play on that level. So that's fine. We have the sorry, gosh, I'm choking on my misery. But the
Red Bulls weren't the only team that choked and had the short end there.
Oh yeah, who else?
You.
I thought you were going to bring up, like, I don't know, the Southern Miss. Yeah, maybe we move on to that game. How about we move on to Southern Miss ODU?
Why you got to change the subject, Jeremy? We got to hammer in that Arkansas State lost that game.
No. I think we've underscored that enough.
How in the hell, though, did the Monarchs get another Sun Belt Conference win and another one on the road going to Southern Miss and didn't even come close in time of possession? It was a 24-minute to 35-minute differential between the Monarchs and the Golden Eagles, but they got it done where it mattered, and that's on the scoreboard with 337 yards of total offense, able to recover a fumble, able to hold Frank Gore under 100 yards with just 66 yards. No passing touchdowns, though, for Wilson. But Wicks able to get in the end zone twice. That was your difference.
I tell you two things that stand out. One is it's not just that Frank Gore was held to whatever yardage you said it was, 70 yards or whatever. It was that he was only held to like 2.5 yards per carry. They ran him to death. They had him running for like 24 times, and he couldn't get anywhere. And the second is that ODU, we talk about another Sun Belt win. It's another win against the Sun Belt West. I mean, the Monarchs are the killers of the Sun Belt West. First Louisiana, and now Southern Miss. They don't have any more SBC West teams to beat up on anymore. So I don't know what that says for the future of ODU. But congratulations to Ricky Ronnie, who kind of won the Antacid Bowl against Southern Miss. It's all that guttural acid now residing in Will Hall's stomach.
Yeah, I went from 2 weeks ago being, "What's up, Southern Miss fans? Why are you turning on Will Hall so fast?" To like, I'm seeing it now. I mean, that game was just, for one thing. Okay, the punt return for a touchdown, the second one gets called back. It's a shaky call. I don't know if it was the right call, but that took the air completely out of Southern Miss. They were not the same team after that, and that's, your coach has got to manage your sideline better than that. They got to keep your guys playing. And you talk about Frank Gore and the super back and the situation. They just don't do anything creative with that at all anymore. They get down in the red zone inside the 5, and they're just trying to run it straight up the gut with him. They've got that weapon, and they're just not using it effectively at this point.
Well, you gotta wonder if it's the only weapon they have. I mean, clearly a quarterback that isn't moving the chains for them. They don't seem to be interested in finding maybe somebody else to get a few snaps in there and maybe provide a spark. So, yeah, you just have to wonder just how it feels right now in that Southern Miss locker room. Southern Miss won a lot of close games last season, a lot of one-score games. None of that's happening this year. All that magic is gone. And I don't know if you worry about Will Hall's future. So realistically, I mean, you almost expected this year to be what last year was supposed to be. Like somehow he flip-flopped. Yeah. So, next year though, that's got to be a really hot seat, right?
Yeah, I don't know if it's a hot seat yet, but I'm understanding the frustration a lot more after actually watching a good chunk of that game.
just go, we get you Southern Miss fans and we feel you.
Is it more frustrating watching that Southern Miss game or watching Miami snatch defeat from the jaws of victory?
There was nothing as incredibly bad as that decision. So, I mean, Will Hall's at least got that going for him.
See, not having any real love for Miami, that I just found that amusing, not really frustrating. Now, frustrating I do feel for Southern Miss and their fans.
Another frustrating game. Viva La Boobcats, they dominated the game everywhere but the scoreboard. And really, it was that block punt in the fourth quarter that was the real difference when Dalen Cambry got the block and then set up the game go-ahead win. But the Bobcats dominated this game every way possible. TJ Finley, 326, 2 touchdowns. It was a pretty costly pick that he did have.
Yeah.
Ishmael Maldi, 188 yards, 1 touchdown. Joey Hobart, 8 receptions, 132 yards, one of which was a 83-yard reception for his score.
Yeah,
What did y'all think of that game?
Yeah, here's the problem for the Bobcats was that the Cajuns defense came up big in the fourth quarter. I mean, in the final 4 possessions, the Cajuns defense forced 2 turnovers and blocked a punt. And that's pretty good. That's like the Bobcats getting not only just a bunch of bad luck, but just maybe falling apart a little bit. Like, oh my God, get it together, Bobcats.
Yeah, I mean, maybe it's the law of averages, working out when you've had so many explosion plays kind of go your way throughout the season. I don't know, but I mean, maybe we doubted the Cajuns defense a little too much. I mean, we got called out online a little bit, so we had to swallow that. I mean, I don't know. All this game kind of tells me is that like the West is absolutely wide open, and you look at the standings right now, and Southern Miss is the only team that's out of it at this point, and it's pretty crazy.
That's just one of those things where Southern Miss could probably rack off and suddenly 3 instant wins and suddenly be right back up there. But I think it does say that the Cajuns aren't ready to cede their place among the elite of that division, right? I think everybody, at least in this room, we're like, oh wow, the Bobcats, they're the flavor of the month. They're the team that we're gonna have to beat in the Sun Belt West, right? And now it's like, okay, step back, because you do look at some of the opponents the Bobcats have played, and they're like, okay, well, they've had their issues on and on. Nobody is doubting the pieces that the Bobcats have. TJ Finley is just an awesome quarterback. The running back, Mondi, he is an awesome running back. That defense at times can be a shutdown defense. But when it comes to what it really boils down to is the Cajuns have been there again and again and again. They're just a program that understands what it takes to seal out a fourth quarter, to win the big games when it counts. And that's where the Cajuns probably have that experience. That's where the Cajuns probably won that game.
I told you back in New Orleans, the guy to watch out for this Cajuns team was Zion Chris. And I know that through the early parts of the game, Jacob Thibodeaux was holding his own as a transfer, finally earned his scholarship, and rightfully so. But Zion Chris, I'm telling you, is the quarterback of the future for the Cajuns. He accounted for 4 touchdowns, 205 yards passing, 67 yards rushing. He was the team's leading rusher.
Yeah.
That's the guy. And if they want to take a step forward and try to get that title game back in Lafayette, or even be on the road to play in it, that's the guy that's got to be behind center, even when Woldridge comes back.
Yeah, I don't even know what his situation is, Woldridge's situation is. Why would you give it back to Woldridge when you've got this guy that can actually, is the future? You don't want him like bailing on you for the transfer portal because he's not getting his reps. I mean, Woldridge, this is his senior year, am I right? He's kind of done. So there's really
I don't remember if he's a junior or senior.
Okay, well, he came from Toledo, right? He's the big.
No.
Oh wait, I'm thinking of Carter. Where did Woldridge come from? I thought he was a transfer. I could be wrong about that.
High school.
He could have come from high school. But you're right. Zion Chris is just a dynamic player, and he does make mistakes because he's a young player, and you just have to roll with those mistakes. He kind of reminds me a little bit about like Jalen Rayner for Arkansas State. As a fan, you just got to accept that sometimes he's going to throw a pick. Sometimes he's going to stand too long in the pocket. Sometimes he's just going to make a big mistake that might even cost a game. But what you're looking at is the future, and you got to let that future cook.
Woldridge is a transfer, by the way. Fresno State.
Okay.
He's a Cali kid.
Thank you.
I sit corrected. The finale was the morning cap. It was a game that we thought was going to be another P5 win for the Sun Belt Conference. The Herd took on the Pack, but the Pack won 48-41. Marshall really made a game of it late. I think it was a 14-point game for pretty much the bulk of the game. What did y'all see out of that? I know for me, before I give you even a chance to answer, Cam Fancher. I know you're not a believer of him, Jeremy, but 315 through the air, 29 of 51 for 2 touchdowns and 1 pick, rushed for 2 touchdowns and 25 yards. He was the offensive threat, at least on Saturday, for the Herd.
Yeah, I'll be interested what Shane has to say about that. But here's what I will admit about Fancher. That guy, you just have to accept he's going to throw at least 1 pick a game. I mean, he's just going to throw a pick. And you just got to accept that turnover is going to be on the sheet. Other than that, he completes a lot of passes. I mean, he's a pretty, consistent guy out there. And I admit, mea culpa, I was wrong about Fancher. Fancher seems to be finding ways to spread out that offense and make plays.
Yeah, Fancher was good. I think the one thing missing from his repertoire is the touch on the deep ball. He misses a lot of guys that are open downfield. He will zip it in there on those crossing patterns and the slants and everything else. But they could have scored 50-some points if he was able to kind of drop it in over the top. That was missing from their offense. The bigger issue, though, is giving up 48 points. I expect more from Marshall's defense after last season when they were basically dominant on that side of the ball. It just feels like a missed opportunity because it was back and forth really until the fourth quarter, and the turnover killed them. Gave NC State a little bit of a cushion, and they still had a chance to kind of get in there and maybe tie it up late. It just feels like a missed opportunity for the Herd, where if they had done a couple of things a little bit better, that might have been another Power 5 victory.
Yeah, Shane, and you kind of nailed it on that. It was the defense that kind of blew me away the most on that game. Marshall had good defense this year, not just last year. So I'm thinking, man, that's going to be the defense that wins this game. And it turned out to be a shootout. It wasn't something I was expecting. And yeah, we kind of missed the Sun Belt misses out on a chance on another feather in its cap, in its P5 cap. But it was also an entertaining game for the fans to watch. So, here's what bugs me the most is that it kills the Marshalls any chance of them getting into the AP top 25. Because once you lose one game in the Sun Belt, it's over. Shane, this is JMU. You've had to go 5-0 and have a stellar season, and you're still only getting 7 votes. What the hell?
Yeah, I mean, I guess we'll see. I think at some point, if somebody from the Sun Belt's kind of like separated themselves and the Mountain West beats itself up a little bit, I think there's a chance that it's a Sun Belt team that ends up cracking the top 25. But I don't know. Right now, I mean, all the metrics say the Sun Belt is the best Group of 5 conference. You can't find one that says they're not.
And yet,
respect. Yeah, and I understand. Wyoming, Air Force, Fresno State, those teams deserve to be in the conversation getting votes too. But I don't understand why there's not somebody from the Sun Belt also kind of, right there on the cusp of the top 25.
Yeah, that loss Appalachian State had to Wyoming and Laramie's looking a little better and better every week with Wyoming really, really stepping it up. They beat Fresno, right? I saw that, right?
Yeah, Wyoming did.
So
I don't know. I mean, it just to me, we're talking about a missed opportunity for the Sun Belt, but just look across the board at every Sun Belt ACC result this year and tell me that outside of, Florida State, that there's a huge difference between these conferences. There's not. I mean, the middle of the pack Sun Belt teams compete really well with the middle of the pack ACC teams. And
yeah, what that means. There should be a merger. Am I right?
Yeah. Who knows who knows what happens if some of the teams in the ACC get their way, but
that's right. It might be a merger by attrition. I don't know.
But I mean, just competitively, basically every game between, other than Florida State, Southern Miss, every game between a ACC and a Sun Belt team has been very competitive with the Sun Belt winning their share of them. I don't understand why the conference as a whole doesn't get a little more love as just being the best group of 5 conference.
Yeah, or even G5 in general. You look at the poll this week, 0 G5s. It's kind of like all the strides we've made in the last 10 years are just vanished simply because Houston and UCF have joined Big 12. I don't really understand how this has happened. I do get that there is especially with NIL, that there will be a concentration of talent in the next 5 years. I just don't see it happening now. I just don't understand what the Sun Belt has to do to get that recognition.
Yeah, and I don't know if there will be like a huge concentration. I mean, the concentration of talent used to be in the top 10, but now they're not all staying at Alabama if they don't play because they can transfer. And now you got, TJ Finley at Texas State, like, which he might not have had like a few years ago.
Wisdom from Shane.
So in addition to last week, we get to go non-traditional.
Okay.
And we talk about the Sun Belt, statistically being the premier G5.
Yeah.
But it's got to be true because we have yet another national linear game on Tuesday when Coastal Carolina travels to Boone to take on App State. That game, 6:30 Central on ESPN2. We'll preview it because the episode will drop right before the game, and we'll actually recap it on our preview show. You got to love that.
Yeah.
So I like App
How does
State.
that even, by the way, Tips, how does this game even happen? I mean, a Tuesday game?
This is Conference USA stuff here.
Are we Mac?
Because Commissioner Gill likes to have the checkbook out, but he knows he's got to work to pay the bills.
Okay, so this is a pay the bills game. I get that. It's a little action for me. I hate that we're playing on a Tuesday night. Not because I diss Tuesday night. It just makes the whole week weird, right? I don't like the way you said it. We're previewing a game tonight that we will be dissecting on a night that will be previewing the rest of the Sun Belt. It's just weird, Tibbs. It bends time and space in an unnatural way.
It reminds me of back in the day they used to like call it, a special Thursday night edition of Monday Night Football or something, like when it was on ABC. Like
so
this is like our special Monday one game second and short.
Okay, I like that. I guess I could live with that. To me, it feels more like thinking about. Yeah, to me, it's more like thinking about the Eastern time zone. It just warps my head. What time is it there, Shane? Is it like 4:23 in the morning?
Something like that. Yeah.
Feels like it.
No, I know the Eastern time zone is tough for you because whenever you introduce the games, you never are like, you're never at 11, 12 Eastern. You're always strictly Central time.
I am strict. I'm a strict Central time zone man. I am married to the Central time zone, and I am loyal.
American time.
That's right. That's America's time, buddy.
I mean, I grew up in the Central time zone. I get it.
Yeah, but now you're an elite East Coaster, so you've forgotten your roots, Shane.
I haven't. I mean, we have Kroger's out here, which is the same thing as Dillon's in Kansas, and I called it Dillon's. Dillon, it's a Kroger, but it's
never heard of a Dillon.
Yeah, never heard of it.
No,
I think they're pretty much only in Kansas and maybe Missouri, but yeah. But I mean, I went into a Kroger and called it Dillon's for like a good decade after I moved out here. So
all right, yeah, we call them Kroger's, like it's owned, like it belongs to a guy named Kroger. Did you go to the Kroger's, the Schnooks, the Price Choppers? Can we get back to this game? This is a good game.
Okay, we'll
You're
have
just
to have
firing off.
We'll have to have a grocery
firing off
store episode
sponsors,
at some point.
That's right. We're trying to get that grocery store a sponsor. Yeah, we'll just list them all, and one of them hears us. They'll be like, "We got to be on that podcast."
Yeah.
So here it is: Grayson McCall, Joey Aguilar. Another head-to-head of star quarterbacks. Grayson McCall had the struggles this season. Maybe he stayed that 1 year too much. Joey Aguilar finally has the toppers. No, not the toppers.
No, the Mountaineers. They're the Mountaineers.
There we go.
Yeah.
I told you, man. I'm on the struggle bus and need I need my sleep by number.
Oh, yeah.
There's another sponsorship opportunity for
Yeah.
us. Has the Mountaineers ready to go? And I think I still love Sean Clark with we celebrate when we win at College Station. We celebrate if we win at Monroe. You better damn well believe they're going to be celebrating their asses off when they beat Coastal Carolina to kind of make themselves relevant once again in the Sun Belt Conference. And that puts them at 3 wins, so they're halfway to bowl eligibility.
Yeah, which they didn't get to last year. You know, this is going to be a fun game to watch on a Tuesday night. Simply because you're going to have that McCall star power that a lot of the nation's going to remember Grayson McCall from a couple years ago, where he was just seemed like on the trajectory to be the next NFL superstar. And he might still be. I just don't know. I don't know if he still has the same guys around him. He certainly doesn't have like an Isaiah Likely to throw. More power going to Boone. I don't know if it's I want to say they sold that out on a Tuesday night, which would be wild if they did. I mean, that's pretty crazy to sell a Tuesday night game if that's what happened. I don't know why I think I've seen that somewhere, but it's going to be a good crowd no matter what because they like their football a lot in Boone. To me, it's not Aguilar. I'm going to be watching. It's going to be Nate Noel. That's the exciting guy to watch. It's going to be can that coastal front four, that defensive line, that trench, can they stop Nate Noel? I still feel like Coastal has some bigs up there. So that'll be a fun thing to watch.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think App can run the ball on Coastal. I think App can get some pressure on Grayson McCall and force him into some mistakes that we've seen this year that I would say uncharacteristic, but they've been characteristic this season a little bit. So I like App in this one, especially at home, especially like even if it's not quite a sold out crowd. You know, App State's got the best student section in the Sun Belt. They're going to show up. They're going to be there early and loud, and I think they're going to have a pretty significant home field advantage on a Tuesday night.
There's Shane trying to suck up to the Mountaineers.
It's predictable now, isn't it? It's like he lost all of his journalistic integrity because he can't risk his family's safety, his own safety, by besmirching the Mountaineers.
Oh, I'm sure I will make them mad again at some point, but you have to give credit to their students who show up early and stay for the whole game, and that's not the case at a lot of places in the Sun Belt, including at JMU.
Oh yeah, very oh gosh, laissez-faire. Oh my shit! You know what? You think you're having troubles on the struggle bus testing? I'm having troubles too. Long weekend, long Monday. You know, today's like a Indigenous people / Columbus Day. I partied hard. You know, I drank a Nina, a Pinta, and a Santa Marita cocktail tonight, and now I'm just completely ready for bed.
Before you do that, though, Jeremy, you should give us a plug, promo, and parting shot.
You know what? I don't have hardly any. I'll just do a promo. And the promo is this. Go to the Believe site where you pick up the Sun Belt or the Fun Belt podcast. Check out some shirts. I bought my Boob Cat shirt this week. And let me tell you guys, I don't have it on because I'm trying to get it ironed out. I want it nice and smooth. It's a beautiful, handsome shirt. Anybody should wear the Boob Cat shirt if they want to be the most talked about person at a party, a wedding, a bar mitzvah, any place that they feel like they need to have a little bit of attention shined on them. They should wear that Boob Cat shirt because I'm telling you, it's the best shirt you could possibly buy at less than $30 a pop.
I love that. I love that plug. Shane, what do you have that'll beat that?
How I can't beat that, but sad news is that our acai soft drink challenger suffered their first loss of the season.
No!
So Boogie Nights team now 2-1 in the X League of Japan, but I think they're still in the mix to possibly make the playoffs there.
All right. We've got to get Boogie Night on at some point.
Yes, we do.
I mean, he's like worse than the Eastern time zone. He's like, is he in Japan? Yeah. So what the heck? We'll have to figure out how to make that logistically work. But yes,
I think
Dusty,
my
I know
phone will
you
tell
have-
me what time it is in Tokyo.
Dusty, I know you have some pull. You can get Boogie onto the show, right?
You think we're tired now?
Yeah, we'll have to do it literally at 4:23 a.m.
My promo on the good old X
Okay.
at Trojans Together. That is the Troy
Mm.
Trojan Collective.
Yes.
However, I strongly encourage everybody to go there, check it out. The defensive back Dale Pettis is actually foregoing his shares of the collective to help raise money for Josh Boutwell, the beat writer for the Troy Messenger of the Troy Trojans, battling cancer. I gave. Everyone else should give. Check it out. Their X is Trojans Together, and there's a link on there to donate there for the cause. Always good to help out one of our own and to help somebody in the Fun Belt get back to being in the Fun Belt.
Absolutely great cause. Good. That is a good promo plug and parting shot from Dusty.
And now there's something asinine we're supposed to say, but I forget what it is.
We don't have a closing quip.